Hello and thanks for joining us on Green and Gold Gridiron. I'm your host, Brian Groff, as always alongside PackerReport.com writer Keith Roerdink.
Great to be here, Brian. Well, Aaron Rodgers is human after all. Mike McCarthy said so and saw it with our own eyes. Luckily, the defense is playing pretty superhuman.
The defense played really well. We're going to talk about that in just a bit. We'll also bring in Janis Ritchie, our third member of our G3 team, as well as our special guest this week. It's Packers wide receiver Janis. So the Packers win 24-10. And it comes down to the defense. The defense is playing terrific, especially the last couple weeks. But, yeah, you talked about Aaron Rodgers. It was an un-Aaron Rodgers-like day.
It really was. So coming into this game, Rodgers and Nick Foles were 1 and 2 in interception ratio, interception percentage, for quarterbacks that had over 1,000 career attempts. For those two guys who never give the ball away to have 6 interceptions between them was crazy. And Rodgers hasn't had 3 turnovers since 2009.
Packers saw a lot of mobile quarterbacks this year. Foles, not so much. They really teed off on him, especially Clay Matthews with that hit.
Oh, my gosh, absolutely. I think he's got to be still hurting from that. But what the defensive secondary was doing was amazing. 4 interceptions. Quentin Rollins, the rookie, of course, he had the pick 6. He had the one at the end. But, you know, I think maybe if one defensive back really impressed me, it was Clinton Dix. He had the tip ball for the interception in the end zone. But the play that was really great was that long pass to Stedman Bailey. I mean, a lot of guys, they just want to sprint, kind of get in the frame, so it looks good in the coach's film. Man, he made up his mind. He took off. He was going to meet him at a spot, and he got him down, and it was a couple plays later, Rollins got that final pick. So, you know, that goes to show it's a good lesson for the kids.
Reviewing what you talked about last week with your Keith's Keys, one of them stopping Todd Gurley. He had 159 yards on 30 carries. One of those, though, a 55-yarder.
Yeah, I mean, man, if you're going to give the ball to a guy 30 times, he's going to bust one off. So you back out that 55-yarder, he had 29 carries. He averaged just over 3.5 yards a carry. So really not too bad of a job. You know, again, I mean, the talented guy is going to bust one off.
And your second key, Packers offensive line holding up against the Rams rush. And you talked about how the pressure that Rodgers was under and him turning the football over.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and again, I said that the Rams weren't going to blitz a lot, that they were just going to use their front four. They actually did blitz more than people thought. Chris Long, of course, goes down. But, yeah, I mean, they were in Aaron Rodgers' face. You know, that first interception, kind of a fluky tip pass. But, you know, after that first one happened, I kind of felt like the other one was not going to be far behind. We've seen that from him before. So on to the next long streak now.
We saw the return of Brian Bulaga, so it was the second time this year that the preferred starters were all there on the O-line.
But then we saw the loss of T.J. Lang.
Right.
So, I mean, you've got Nelson, Adams out, Corliss out, Lang goes out, Bulaga comes back, can't catch a break.
Definitely. All right, let's turn our attention now to the third member of our G3 team, Janis Ritchie, joining us, and she has our Titletown topics and what kind of things we're going to talk about today.
All right, today we're going to talk about the deep history of the Packers. We're going to talk about working with Aaron Rodgers, a fan question that we had sent in. And then we're going to talk about just something of NFL interest. We're going to talk about some different coaching strategies and tactics.
All right, we look forward to that. Our special guest this week is Packers wide receiver Janis. We will speak with him coming up after this break.
Brought to you in part by Hermanning Financial Group.
Hermanning Financial Group strives to help you and your family reach your financial goals while demonstrating their core values of integrity, independence, and innovation. With offices in Wausau, Stevens Point, Manitowoc, and Wisconsin Rapids, proudly supports Junior Achievement North Central District.
Junior Achievement gives young people the skills they need to own their economic success. Our volunteers help students with financial literacy, work readiness, and entrepreneurship.
And it's really helping me understand how it's going to be in the future.
Do you like to walk?
Do you want to live longer?
You will love square dancing.
Friends you meet for life.
Marvelous people.
Like I said, meet people.
I love it.
Love it.
I love square dancing.
The fun, the family.
Great variety of music.
The camaraderie.
Too young.
It's fun.
Try it, you like it. Call 715-544-7969. Visit WisconsinSquareDancing.com for more information. First lesson free, singles and couples welcome. Looking for a high-impact way for your business to stand out from the rest? Flipside Graphics specializes in vehicle wraps, vinyl graphics, and much more. Cutting-edge graphics with professional results is what we stand for. Have a large fleet that needs to be flipped or shirts to be embroidered? Our design team will handle every aspect of the project from start to finish. We design it, we wrap it, we flip it. Call Flipside Graphics today and stand out from the competition.
Welcome back to Green and Gold Gridiron. I'm Brian Groff alongside Keith Rodink, and it's time for us to introduce our special guest. He finished his Saginaw Valley State career as its all-time leader in catches, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns. He is in his second season as a Packers wide receiver. It is our pleasure to introduce Jeff Janis. Jeff, thank you so much for joining us via Skype today.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
You bet. As we understand, you did some hunting during an off day, so let's start with a non-football question. What were you hunting?
Deer hunting. I'm really into bow hunting. It's something I grew up doing, so try to get it in as much as I can while I'm not playing.
Outstanding. You fit right in northern Wisconsin, but that's kind of your background too, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. I grew up in the east side of Michigan, and on Lake Huron. So, like I said, I grew up doing stuff in the outdoors and hunting and fishing and everything like that. So it's feels like home here.
Yeah. Talk about what this season's been like for you so far, Jeff. You know, preseason, 10 catches, 150 yards. 3 touchdowns. You were the leader in preseason, still trying to get that first catch, but getting on the field a lot more this year. What's that been like?
It's definitely a good feeling. I'm still learning, and it kind of feels like, you got to earn your way onto the offense by, participating on special teams and making some plays and things like that. So, I'm just trying to, get out there on the field and improve every day and, keep learning things and make plays when they come my way.
There was that write-up last weekend in the Journal Sentinel about you and how good you become as a gunner on special teams. Take us through what's that like. Did you have experience with that coming into the NFL? Is it something you really had to work at? And it looks like, you have to be a daredevil, and you're just going, it's kind of a kamikaze mission, isn't it, going down there?
Yeah, pretty much. You're just trying to run as fast as you possibly can. But, no, I don't have any experience doing that. I didn't really play special teams in college just because I played offense so much. So it's just something that I'm really trying to learn still and get better at each day. And I think when I first started at it, I kind of had a receiver mentality. I'm trying to run away from people, and it's kind of a totally different position where you just gotta learn the techniques from some of the guys that have done it before you, and watch tape and watch how it's done, and just kind of get better that way.
Now, Jeff, you really get to turn the tables, so to speak. When you're a receiver, you have the guys in the secondary, the safeties. They're trying to take your head off. Not only do you have 5 tackles on the year, some of those tackles, you've gone down and just lit some guys up. What's that been like?
It's a little different. I don't get to tackle guys much, for the past 5 years in college. I think I had 1 tackle my whole college career. So it's a little bit different, but, it's just a part of football, and you play for a while, and it's just something you kind of, know how to do.
Tell us about the steps that you took to get where you are now. I talked about the stats and what you did leaving Saginaw Valley State as a career leader in these big-time categories. You talked about where you're from. How did it lead you to that school? And talk about the process of getting into just being noticed by an NFL scout and eventually becoming an NFL player.
Yeah, I wasn't really recruited much coming out of high school. I only had one Division I school looking at me, and that was Central Michigan. And they ended up not offering me a scholarship, so I started looking at Division II schools, and Saginaw was the last place that I visited, and it was about an hour away from my hometown. So I liked the campus, I liked the coaches, so I decided to go there. And then, by the time I was a junior, and I kind of was putting up some good numbers, and people were starting to talk about the NFL and thing, and I didn't really believe it. I just, kept playing, and by the time my senior year came around, and I was having another good season, and scouts were starting to come to practice to watch me and things like that. It kind of started to set in that I might be able to play at the next level. And then, got invited to the Combine and the Senior Bowl, and kind of just kept rolling from there. And then draft day came, and the Packers took me and just kind of, took off running.
Now, Jeff, you're the same height as Jordy Nelson. You're about as fast as Jordy Nelson, very similar body type. I know you've heard those comparisons. Jordy goes down. It's not that easy, though, to just step in and say same size, same speed, same body type. That's quite an adjustment coming from Saginaw Valley. I guess, how has that adjustment been like, and what do you do maybe to, as good as you want to get, you need to temper expectations a little more for everyone that thought you were just going to slide right in.
Yeah, for sure. Jordy's a veteran guy, and he's been playing for quite a while and is with Aaron, and he's been on the same page with Aaron for quite a few years now. So, that takes time to develop, and it's hard to just jump in and take over that type of role. And I didn't expect to, and I don't think the coaches expected me to either. They just want me to play, my type of game and, do my best while I'm out there. So, it's one of those things where it's just going to take time.
Could you give us a little insight into what it's like to be a part of that wide receiver position? From the outside, we look at it and, wow, you're really deep. Jordy Nelson goes down with a season-ending injury. You have James Jones who comes in right before the start of the regular season. There's a lot of good athletes in that room. Take us inside to just kind of give us an insight into what's that like, to how you get along with those guys, how you help each other get better day in and day out.
Yeah, like I said, with all the veterans that we have in our room, that's a lot of help for us younger guys. Whether it's with mannerisms and things with Aaron, and we usually meet with Aaron as well too. So that's good that he's in our room and kind of helping us along the way too. But yeah, I think it's great that all those older guys can help us along the way and teach us some things. 'Cause, I mean, that's how we're going to get better too. So everybody gets along great in the room. And it's a pretty good atmosphere.
Little bit of tough love when Aaron's in that room.
Just a little bit.
Is there a little more involvement this year with head coach Mike McCarthy because he stepped away from the play calling duties, and from what we understand, he's been able to kind of drop in on some of those other meetings?
Yeah, I see him in a lot of the special teams meetings, and he drops in, on the offense, and I'm sure he's in the defensive meetings too. So I think he's doing a good job of overseeing everything and making sure that everything's done the right way.
I want to ask you one more thing. This is kind of off the football field, but your background, we talked about the deer hunting and being outdoors, but you're pretty knowledgeable when it comes to working on cars. You've done that since you were a kid, haven't you?
Yeah, since I was about 14, my uncle owns a tire shop, and that's where I worked up until, I would go home at the summers for college, and I would work there, and just changing tires and oil, nothing real too major. I wasn't a mechanic or anything like that, but yeah, that's something else that I like to kind of be around.
Still doing that?
What's that?
I said, you don't still need to do that though, huh?
I still do it in my garage. Yeah, I enjoy changing the oil on my own car.
Part of the rookie hazing, sometimes you go out to the lot and then tires are removed from vehicles. That didn't happen to you, did it? Because they probably would have known that you would know how to replace them.
No, it didn't happen to me, but yeah, definitely I would know how to replace it.
See, they have to ask Jeff to do it to the other guys.
That's right.
So there you go.
Exactly. That's your side business. We had Kennard Backman last week. His side business was being a barber.
Yeah.
So now he has someone who can
You
deal
do
with
oil
cars.
changes.
We're going to take a break. We have Jeff Janis, wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Jenny Ritchie joins us, and we'll have our Titletown topics. Stick around, everybody.
Looking for a high-impact way for your business to stand out from the rest? Flipside Graphics specializes in vehicle wraps, vinyl graphics, and much more. Cutting-edge graphics with professional results is what we stand for. Have a large fleet that needs to be flipped or shirts to be embroidered? Our design team will handle every aspect of the project from start to finish. We design it, we wrap it, we flip it. Call Flipside Graphics today and stand out from the competition.
Hermiting Financial Group strives to help you and your family reach your financial goals while demonstrating their core values of integrity, independence, and innovation. With offices in Wausau, Stevens Point, Manitowoc, and Wisconsin Rapids, proudly supports Junior Achievement North Central District.
Junior Achievement gives young people the skills they need to own their economic success. Our volunteers help students with financial literacy, work readiness, and entrepreneurship.
And it's really helping me understand how it's going to be in the future.
When disaster strikes, water, fire, storm damage, and even mold, we take care of them all. Anytime, day or night, 24 hours, 7 days a week. Quality service and customer satisfaction are top priorities. Tell your insurance company you prefer North Star Cleaning and Restoration.
And remember, don't just get it clean, get it North Star Clean.
NorthstarCleaning.net.
MKS Fox Plaza Postal, your new address in the downtown Wausau area. Coming soon.
Welcome back to Green Gold Gridiron. Brian Groff, Keith Roding, and Jenny Ritchie also joining us via Skype, thanks to Mayfield Sports, wide receiver Jeff Janis. Jenny is here with the first of our Titletown topics.
Yes, I am. So the Packers are going to wear their third jersey against the Chargers, commemorating the team's uniform from 1927 through 48. So what has impressed you most about the Packers' deep history?
I think just being around Lambeau Field and just the whole atmosphere is just something special. And, I've been to quite a few different facilities around the league, and it just doesn't seem to have that feeling around it that Lambeau does.
Jeff, I'm going to put you on the spot as a Michigan guy. Did you grow up a Lions fan? Were you a Packer fan?
Yeah, unfortunately, I was a Lions fan.
It's okay. We forgive that because of Barry Sanders, so it's fine.
Because of Barry Sanders.
Topic 2.
All right, so I know we touched briefly on this a little bit, but our next question is from one of our viewers named Howard. So what is the most enjoyable and at the same time the most stressful part about working with Aaron Rodgers?
I think the most enjoyable part is he can make you really good and make you look really good. And, I mean, he's one of the best players doing it nowadays. So, I mean, just to be around him is something special. But, yeah, it can definitely be stressful at times, too, when, you know, not exactly on the same page with him. And, you know, he expects perfection. So, you know, whenever something doesn't go quite right, he can get a little upset. I mean, that, you know, makes you feel kind of bad, too, that you weren't on the same page and weren't thinking what he was. But that's just one of those things that just comes with time, and it'll develop.
Awesome.
Topic 3.
All right, so our third topic is an NFL interest topic, so I'm not going to grill you too much. So the Bills head coach, Rex Ryan, he chastises players in practice for making penalties. And he also had them wear bracelets that said, "Yes, sir," as words to use after being penalized in a game. So for you, what's the most outlandish tactic that a coach has used to get a point across?
Just in the NFL or in college?
Just in general.
Man, just
be
in
creative
general.
with it.
You can go all the way back to Pop Warner if you want.
Yeah, you can do that too.
Brian has shot collars on us, so that's what.
Yeah.
That's
It's
what
the stuff you don't see.
I think the worst punishment or anything like that we had to do to get was back in high school, bear crawling 100 yards and then doing a barrel roll for 100 yards. That gets you, that kind of gets the point across, but man, it was tough.
And what kind of behavior was requiring that sort of punishment?
You know, if the two guys would get in a fight during practice or, you know, just stuff that goes on throughout practice, you know, I mean, it's a physical sport, so things happen, but yeah, anything type of thing like that, you wouldn't want to have that happen.
Well, that's fun. That's our Titletown topics. Before we let you go, you're playing a Chargers team that's coming into Lambeau Field. We talked about it. It'll be an alternate jersey that you're wearing, but just kind of just to summarize, a 5-0 start. The Packers, there's some high expectations. You're dealing with some injuries. What are the expectations moving forward, and how do you concentrate on one game at a time? I know coaches talk about it all the time, but people like us get to look a little bit further ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it can get kind of tough, especially with a bye week coming. You know, some guys might want to start thinking about the bye week and having that week off. But, you know, we just try to take it one day at a time and, you know, just focus on what we got that week and, you know, hopefully keep this, you know, good start going.
Does it feel like the bye's at a good time? It seems like whenever it comes out, it tends to be a good time, but really this, because of the injuries, might be.
Yeah, I think it's coming at a good time. I could deal with it being maybe a couple weeks later, so the rut will be started for deep season.
Oh, there we go.
But hey, I'll take it.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much, Jeff Janis, for joining us via Skype, and our thanks to Mayfield Sports. Have a great week.
Thanks a lot,
Thanks
Jeff.
for
Good
coming
luck.
in.
We appreciate it. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have Keith's Keys and our NFL Pick'ems after this.
When disaster strikes, water, fire, storm damage, and even mold, we take care of them all. Anytime, day or night, 24 hours, 7 days a week. Quality service and customer satisfaction are top priorities. Tell your insurance company you prefer North Star Cleaning and Restoration.
And remember, don't just get it clean, get it North Star clean.
NorthstarCleaning.net.
MKS Fox Plaza Postal, your new address in the downtown Wausau area. Coming soon.
Hermiting Financial Group strives to help you and your family reach your financial goals while demonstrating their core values of integrity, independence, and innovation. With offices in Wausau, Stevens Point, Manitowoc, and Wisconsin Rapids, proudly supports Junior Achievement, North Central District.
Junior Achievement gives young people the skills they need to own their economic success. Our volunteers help students with financial literacy, work readiness, and entrepreneurship.
And it's really helping me understand how it's going to be in the future.
Welcome back to our final segment of Green and Gold Gridiron. Green Bay is 9-1 all-time against the San Diego Chargers. Now, the only time Aaron Rodgers and Phillip Rivers squared off against each other was back in 2011. Green Bay won that game 45-38.
Shootout.
Each of those quarterbacks threw 4 touchdown passes. They still have the ability today to do that as well.
They do. I'll tell you what. I don't know that it's going to be quite the barn burner of 2011, but these are some these are some great signal callers that are going to be going at it Sunday. Now, of course, we know what Aaron Rodgers can do last Sunday against that Rams defensive side, but, Phillip Rivers, I think, is really maybe a guy that doesn't get the respect he should get as one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. 12-year vet, 5-time Pro Bowler. He's leading the third-ranked offense right now, second-ranked passing offense in the NFL, and he is the leading passer as far as yards right now in the NFL. So it's an impressive game. He's got Keenan Allen. He's got Antonio Gates back. I mean, we got to look out for these guys.
Antonio Gates, he just got back last week, so what does he add to that offense?
Oh, man. As a guy that had Antonio Gates on my fantasy team for years and finally thought he was too old, he's playing like Antonio Gates at 25 instead of at 35. But he looked great hauling in 2 touchdowns against Pittsburgh. So you cannot let him run free through that defense. One
of their weaknesses is their offensive line, though. They're banged up there.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll tell you what, that's affecting Melvin Gordon as well. I think you've got Danny Woodhead that they like to throw to a lot. He's kind of that change of pace guy in the passing game, but they can't get anything going. And the thing with Rivers too, you can get to him and you can sack him. And that Packer defense is second in the league with 20 sacks, so we know they're going to get to him. But I don't know if that's going to rattle him. Rivers has actually been sacked at least 2 times in 14 of the last 15 games. So unless it's a feeding frenzy, you're not going to throw him off his game. So he's going to take that licking and keep on ticking. But I think the way the Packers secondary is playing, that's maybe where the opportunity is going to lie.
We talked about this a little bit with Jeff Janis, and when the schedules come out, you kind of want to get your bye near the middle of the season. Yeah. Jeff talked about how it would have been a little better to get it a couple weeks later, but for hunting, exactly. They play this game. They have a bye week. Overall, it's a full month until they play an NFC North team. So it's very interesting the way the schedule has come together, and the Packers already this early in the season are really putting some distance between themselves and some of the other teams in the division. Let's get into Keats Keys as we kind of wind everything back around to the San Diego Chargers again. What are a couple things that we should look for in this game?
A couple things we talked about earlier. Antonio Gates, you can't let him run free. We know, again, even at 35, he's still that mismatch. He's a little athletic for most linebackers. He's a little big for most safeties. That said, I mentioned earlier in the show, Clinton Dix is playing great. I love where his game is going this year. He's keeping his head up when he's tackling. He's making some great plays. So he's a guy that can come up and make some play on Gates when he's running through there. Get your pressure on Rivers, try to slow Gates down. I think another key is, again, Melvin Gordon. Gordon, he is yet to get a touchdown. He's yet to rush for 100 yards. I think everybody thought, maybe he should have gone ahead of Torrey Gurley in the draft. I think Gurley is showing that he is. Gordon still has that potential, but I'll tell you what, since that first half at Chicago, Green Bay has been in lockdown mode. I'm going to give him a pass on the 55-yarder that Gurley got. I'm going to look at what they did on 29 carries. I like Green Bay being able to accomplish both of those.
All right. Speaking of your predictions and my predictions, let's get into NFL Pick'ems. Jenny Ritchie back in so we can take a look at the scoreboard. And after last week, Keith and I each went 4-1. Jenny loves the underdogs.
I do.
And they just
one of these days, I'm gonna get all of them right, and you guys are gonna fail.
Well, this could be the day. You went 2-3 last week, so we can see the updated standings there. Your record is 12-7. Who wants to go first with our pick'ems?
I'm gonna let you guys go first. Someone pick the exact opposite that you guys go.
I was gonna do ladies first. All right.
So I will go first. The 1-4 Chiefs are at the 2-2 Vikings. I'm gonna go Minnesota.